Well, last Wednesday I saw an advanced screening of Wicked, and I apologise for not getting this review out, but I'm finally here to give my full review of Wicked, and this is going to be very much from a filmmaker's perspective and an in-depth dive instead of, well, some of the usual stuff that you get from YouTube film critics who have never made a film in their life and don't understand a lot of the inner workings of making a film. So I'm going to be a brutal, blunt, but I think the Wicked fans will love this review too. I'll see you at the bar.
It's showtime.
Well, Wicked has swept the world with hype. Now, as I said in my intro, I had the opportunity to see an advanced screening of this. It was with a packed audience, mostly of Wicked fans. And I got talking to a mum of two children who were next to her. They were teenage children. And the mum and her two children, they had seen Wicked the musical. I think they told me about 2 times they had seen it. And they loved it. And they clearly knew all the songs. And there was an introduction to the film with a quiz done by the cinema that was holding the advanced screening. And that let me know that pretty much everyone in that audience, except for me, knew everything about Wicked. I've never seen the stage play. I never read the book it was based on. I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know Ariana Grande was in this film until about a day or two before the film. So I went in as cold as you can imagine. I did see one of the original trailers for it and I thought, okay, looks interesting, looks good. And I did have it on my list of films that I really wanted to see this year. So I was certainly looking forward to this film just based on the visuals I had seen in the trailers and the hype. And the film follows Elphaba, who is born as a green little witchling, I guess you can kind of call her, who's not quite right. She's green and a little bit mean, and the family reject her. She ends up going to the university with the name Shiz University, that every time they said Shiz on screen, well, I just thought it was Snoop Doggy Dogg for some reason.
Me too.
Shizzle my nizzle.
For shizzle.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
I'm just being honest.
That's a damn lie.
I need to grow up.
Man, shut the fuck up.
So yeah, every time I heard the name Shiz, I thought of Snoop Doggy Dogg, but it gave me a little giggle. So Elphaba goes off to Shiz University. I'm not sure exactly how she set the exams to get in there or whatever she had to do, but she heads off there and she meets I'm kind of being like the goat in the film that doesn't know how to pronounce her name.
That's cold-blooded.
And Galinda ends up the roommate of Elphaba. And they go on journeys and adventures together through musical numbers in this great big epic production event. That, I believe from what people have told me, follows the stage play quite faithfully. And as a film reviewer, even though I need to go in and judge this film, look at this film and judge this film in my review as a film critique, I'm also going to do it, and 100% in the case of this film, I'm going to do it as a former filmmaker. I can't do it any other way with this, but I also have to do this film review in respect to the fact that I have little knowledge on the source material, and I have to go off and respect what the fans of the source material, namely the musical, not just the book, what they think of it, what they thought of it, etc. So in my job, where I work at the cinema, I have got to speak to people since the Wednesday advanced screening. I got to speak to a lot of people coming out of that movie, and they love it. Like, every one of them love it. And there's a varying age range that are going to see Wicked. So you've got the very young, you've got a lot of the teenage audiences going, and a lot of those teenage girls are going with their parents or their mum. So what I also want to say here is I believe that this is going to be a monster. Now, before I saw it, I thought this is going to be a monster film. And this is why. Because I went through the cinema screenings for the advanced. And the advanced screening I was booked into days prior was almost sold out. It was a 350 plus seat cinema, and it's almost sold out in an advanced screening. And then I found out all the gold class sessions were all sellouts. So they were all sellouts. So I thought, wow, okay. And then once I saw the film, I thought, well, they are perfectly targeting this audience, especially the female audience, the musical audience. They know their audience. And the film is made for that audience. Now, that's not to say that someone like me who knew nothing about it wouldn't enjoy it. Because at the end of it, the lady next to me, she turns to me and says, well, what did you think? Because she knew I knew nothing about Wicked. I'd explained to her previously that I have a film review channel, and I'm in there really just to review the film for my film review channel. So she says, what did you think? She was keen to get my opinion, and I looked at her and I said, from a filmmaker's perspective, that is a borderline masterpiece. And I still hold to this. Now, I did a quick review out of the film reaction video, and I said in there that I think this is a borderline masterpiece. Now, obviously, I've had a few days to rejig opinions, to rethink about things, to do more research, etc. But I still come to the point of, I believe, when you look at this film, as far as vision of the director, John Chu, and this is the guy that directed what I think is a wonderful big action film in G.I. Joe Retaliation that was unfairly criticized. I love the way this man sets up action. And in the case of Wicked, he is setting up big, incredible dance numbers. Now, I know he also directed, I think it was 2 and 3 of the Step Up film. So this guy knows how to block, how to do shot composition. And when I say block, I'm talking about going through blocking of the shots he wants. And he's clearly, along with his storyboard artist, he's clearly drawn out every little sequence of how he wants this film to be. And you need to do that when you're shooting a $145 million film, which is $105 million less than spent on the very disappointing Red One. So what John Chu and his team have done with this budget is quite incredible, because the money is on screen. The production design is stunning. The CGI work, for the most part, which I'm going to talk about very soon and later, because it delves into the most controversial subject of this film, being about the lighting and the cinematography, which, as I said in my opening intro, so many film reviewers don't know what they're talking about here and have kind of got this wrong. And unfortunately and innocently, some audience members quite don't understand why it's this way. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I think the entire production, everyone was on board here, from the musical score, cinematography, the choreography, production design, sound design, and all through the masterful direction of John Chu. And I'm going to give you a prediction right now. He will win Best Director. He won't just be nominated at the Oscars for Best Director. He will win Best Director for this film. Because a film of this size at 2.5 hours, when you look at every little detail, and I've seen YouTube reviewers criticize, I want more wide angle shots, and I didn't really want shots of their feet moving and in under their legs. The director is trying to put you, the audience, into the position that you are part of it, that you are watching a stage play. That's what he wants you to feel. So just staying off on static shots and wide angle shots, which he includes enough of, the whole idea is to immerse the audience into dance numbers by showing that those dance numbers aren't broken up. Now, if he stayed on a wide angle shot, also, he's not going to get all the coverage he needs. He needs to get in there. But the key thing here is by getting in and doing shots going under legs, moving around, he's also doing a lot of these in long takes, in massive long takes. So he gets to show a variety. And when that camera's moving, that camera, especially with today's technology and maybe a little touch up in post-production, you're able to, for example, with the blocking, you can go from a wide shot, you can come in on a wide and you can have a character enter frame, say they enter left of frame, and they take up that frame. Now you're in a close-up. You follow with them. They start moving away from the camera. You're in a close-up. Because they're moving away, you're now pulling out to a medium wide or a wide-angle shot. Now you're back on a wide. Then you move around. Someone comes into frame. You can change your framing without going to cut, without always cutting then to what's called a master shot with a wide-angle shot. And John Chu knows what he's doing here, and he does it beautifully, and he's creating an immersive experience for the audience to go into. Now, I'm going to talk quickly about the acting performances. Personally, I'm not an Ariana Grande fan. I don't listen to her music. I have my personal reasons for not really respecting or liking her as a person, which I'm not going to get into, but I just have my reasons for being very suspicious of her as a person. However, as a reviewer, and to be professional here, I'm only going to talk about her performance. And her performance is stunning. Now, some people are saying she should get a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I think that's complete crap. She doesn't deserve a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I honestly believe that Ariana Grande deserves a Best Actor nomination, not a Best Supporting Actor nomination, but a Best Actor nomination, because she nails it. I mean, how many times can you flick your hair in a film but do it differently and do it with charm? And comedy is not an easy thing to do on film, and she does it absolutely fantastically. And I think this is also a testament to the direction of John Chu, that John and Ariana were on the exact same page of how this character needs to be played. And her singing is incredible too. So definitely deserves an Oscar, not only an Oscar nomination. I will not be surprised if she wins the Best Actress Oscar. Now, as far as Cynthia Erivo, it's a pity that she had to express certain views before the film was released about the poster that was made by a fan, which was honouring the stage show production. I don't know why she does this. I don't know why people constantly want to feel victimized and hurt, because the fan was just honouring the Wicked stage poster in a very intelligent way, blending that in with the film one. But putting that aside, I think Cynthia Erivo here is incredible. Now, like you guys know, I'm not a big Wicked fan. I know nothing about the musicals. I do know that a white actress, I believe from memory it was Margaret Hamilton.
You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
Played the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz film. So obviously they've done a bit of a race swap here. Well, I don't really care about that at all, because in this situation, I think her performance is so fantastic. If you were going to play the films as a companion piece, and they do show a clip of the Wizard of Oz, well, they at least do their version of it at the very start of the film when the camera's pushing in. What they show you here is you see Dorothy, Toto, Tin Man, Lion Man on their way to the Wizard of Oz, to the big castle. They show that at the start. So we know that Wicked is being taken place while Dorothy is on her journey. So it's a pretty awesome thing that they've done there. But back to Cynthia Erivo. So yes, they have race swapped this character, but I don't know who else would play Elphaba the way Cynthia Erivo has done this. And it is her eyes. And there's moments where there's no dialogue coming from her, and the camera will just be pushing in, or it's on a close-up of her, and you feel her pain, you feel her torment, and it matches beautifully, syncs up somehow with the humorous performance and sometimes heartfelt performance of Ariana Grande as well as Galinda. So both actresses here are incredible, and I think they both deserve nominations for Best Actress, not Best Supporting Actress, because they are co-leads. Now let's get to the elephant in the room here.
Hold on to your butts.
This is where I think a lot of YouTubers have this wrong. They're talking about the cinematography and the lighting, and I've listened to this over and over with these YouTubers and also some innocent film fans that have commented on it as well. So let me explain this to you guys from a filmmaking perspective. Alice Brooks, who was the cinematographer on this film, and John Chu, the director, they know what they're doing. They're not just flooding this film with light by mistake. So the reason they've done this is, in my belief, with my filmmaking background, is you've got a lot of the, let's say, foreground plates, which are real sets. So you'll probably have a bottom section level of like these buildings and the exterior buildings, and they're real sets because the director wants the actor to be able to be immersed in those and bring out a more real performance. But then you may get to the second level, or the stages from stage left, stage right, that need green screen, that are going to be an extension of that set. So what happens is, in post-production, they allow more light. It's more done in post-production than it is even on set. And they filter through light and they let that light come in because they're trying to get a perfect match between the foreground shots, the foreground sets and actors with the CGI that's blended in. If they don't match that lighting, then the lighting that is on those sets is going to not match with the CGI. It's a very fine balance. So that's why I believe they've done that. And I'm going to prove this point. So if you look in the interior shots, when there's basically no windows and the sets are supposedly lit by, say, a chandelier above, lighting above, you'll see that those foreground, those images, and say, for example, you'll see those foreground images hold their color more. The color doesn't pop as much in the exterior because they're supposedly allowing natural light into the frame. So in those exterior shots or the night shots, you'll see the frame holds more color. And with the chandelier light, you'll see they let a little bit of light down, but you'll still see that the color is more held in the foreground. Also, in the exterior shots where there are windows, you'll notice the light will come in, and when a character, say Elphaba, she moves away from the light and she comes closer into the interior depth, you'll see the color holds more, especially, around her face, etc. And in those interior shots where there's no windows at all, like I mentioned, the color is more popping, is a bit more held. Now I totally emphasize with audience that want more color, because at the end of the day, yes, I'm looking at it from a realistic point of view, but also you guys would have a very fair point in saying, well, it's not a realistic film. It's a fantastical film. It's a fantasy film. And you're correct. But when you are dealing with CGI, that blend kind of has to happen. I'll give you a prime example. Now, the train they used, big exterior shot until we got into the interior of the train, that exterior shot, that's actually a real train. When I was looking at the film in the cinema, I'm like, is that all CGI? Is that a CGI train? And I thought it was a CGI train. I shouldn't really think it's a CGI train when it's a real train, but that's the compromise in also getting that exterior lighting right when it's enhanced and it's mostly fake lighting, because you've got to match those background CGI plates with foreground plates. And also the director's probably gone here for a bit of a whimsical look instead of just popping that color and making it so hard. So I think that's the reason that that's happened. And sadly, a lot of people don't quite get that. And I wish most YouTubers that are reviewing films would actually go and make films themselves. At least do a crash course in filmmaking before they really criticize. a fantastic director here in his work. And as far as John Chu, I think his direction is brilliant. I think John Chu is going to win. I have no doubt in my mind. I think he'll win the Oscar for Best Director, because the realization of this film, through the shot composition, through where we go from wide angle shots and we go all through the legs, everywhere, the legs, the feet, he knows what he's doing. Everything is so planned and so meticulous. And also he's got incredible performances out of these actors, and he's kept everything sustained right through a 2.5 hour runtime. I cannot wait for part 2 of Wicked. I just cannot wait. I think I actually don't want just a part 2. I want a part 1, a part 2, a part 3. I want this to be a trilogy. I think it is a wonderful film. It's an entertaining film. I don't have a 4K TV, but I want to get a 4K TV just to watch this film when it's finally released on 4K. I highly recommend this film. I'm so glad and happy for the fans of Wicked, of the stage musical and the book, that they're loving this film. And look, go and give it a go. If you haven't seen it, go and give it a go. And my advice is, stop watching this in a standard cinema. You've got to see this film in VMAX. If you can see it in a VMAX cinema, go and see this in VMAX. It'll enhance the sound for you. It'll enhance the big screen atmosphere for you and the overall atmosphere. It'll just enhance your enjoyment of the film. I am going to give Wicked a Diamonds Are Forever A+. This is a borderline masterpiece film in construction of cinema for me. Till next time, guys, thank you so much for joining me here, and please make sure you like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts on Wicked below. And what are your thoughts for Wicked Part 2? And until next time, guys, keep getting drunk on movies, not alcohol.
What is it? What's wrong, sister?
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man.
Man, shut the fuck up.